Athlete recovery, the most important part to your workouts besides the workout itself, because without no recovery, there's no gains, and without no gains, there's no point in life. So let's go over athlete recovery, post-training, post-competition, what you can do. We'll go over the principles, concepts, and actual real-life examples of what I do with my athletes to help them bounce back, recover harder, and make even better gains. So let's do it. First, let's go over the core principles, talking about what to do the day of a workout or a competition, basically just what do you do after. Let's go over what to do the day after, so the day after a competition or a game, and the real life examples, some video examples as well, and talking through kind of what I'm looking for, how to coach and cue and describe these workouts to your athletes. The core principles. First, the most foundational concept of all of this is a high-low training model. So what does that mean? Basically, you alternate between high load days or hard training days and low load training days. And low doesn't necessarily mean easy. It just means not that much load, not that much stuff, not that much volume. So in doing so, we alternate from breaking the body down to building it back up. A high day breaks us down, a low day builds us back up. So within 1 week itself, let alone taking an entire deload week, for example, you get these little micro doses of recovery within a week, help you bounce back, help you get even better high days in. And it's just the underpinning concept of all of this stuff is a high-low model, letting yourself bounce back within a week itself. Workouts are hard, so how do we get the body back to normal? So whether it is immediately after the workout, how do we go from our fight or flight, our sympathetic nervous system, into our rest and digest, our parasympathetic nervous system, right? There's nothing about working out that the body likes, honestly. If we go back to high school biology class, homeostasis, the body at rest, everything's in balance, and then we disrupt it by diverting blood to all of our muscles, by increasing our heart rate, by breaking our muscles down literally. So how do we get our body back to normal as quickly and effectively as possible? You only make gains through recovery. And again, without gains, there's no point in life. So super, super important. And with the recovery itself, how do we get the good stuff into our muscles? And how do we get the bad stuff out of our muscles? So those 4 things, really big moving forwards. So the day of, let's say you have a super big lift, you do 30 minutes of speed training, you do an hour of lifting, or let's say it was a game day itself. What do you do after? You got to fuel and you got to hydrate. And I'm not a licensed nutritionist, dietitian. I'm not here to give you specific numbers or figures or whatever. Just be sure to get your protein in, a protein bar or protein shake, whatever it may be, because that is going to directly help you build your muscles back up. And hydrate, water, and electrolytes. Everyone needs electrolytes, right? Everyone loses electrolytes when they sweat. And I'm just not that sweaty of a person when I work out. And I know some people that'll drench their shirt just after a warm-up. So have some feel, be conscious of how your body reacts to working out. If you're a super salty sweater, right, when your shirt dries, do you get like the white kind of ring of where the sweat was? Then you're losing a lot of salt. So get some protein in and then get fluids in, mainly water. And if you're a salty sweater, get some electrolytes in as well. Second is relax. This is for your mind, and the mind controls the body. So the quicker that we can breathe, we can relax, we can take big breaths in and out, and you can just feel calm, right? Drop that heart rate, getting into our rest and digest, going from sympathetic fight or flight to parasympathetic rest and digest. So just be conscious of, maybe put a timer on your phone in the locker room for 5 minutes, just close your eyes and breathe. It can be as simple as that, to get your brain and your mind a little bit more under control after the adrenaline, the rush, and all these things, to being more relaxed and helping your body bounce back, initiate some of those recovery processes. And do not do more, right? Now, yes, we are here to make our high days high. Crush your workout, do what's part of the plan, but just because you know that you have a recovery day coming up doesn't mean that you should excessively beat your body up, right? Because the more you beat yourself up, then the more you got to recover later. So be conscious of getting all of your good work in, maximizing your high day when it's your time to break down your body, challenge it, beat it up a little bit, but be conscious of not doing too much just because you can, or just because it feels good, or just because the grind. Okay? 3 things to keep in mind. Day after. Follow the high-low model. And I do have a master's degree. It's not in rocket science, but sometimes my athletes make me feel like it is. What comes after a high day, say it with me, a low day. There we go. So just go into it mentally, right? Coaching your athletes through this. If you're an athlete watching this video, how do you mentally prepare yourself for a low day? Just say, no, I've earned this. This is what's needed for me. I did all the hard stuff yesterday. Now it's my time to take a step back, have a low day, recover, and then also set you up for a really good high day the next day, right? The point of recovering is to make gains, but the point of recovering is to set you up for another workout next time, because then you can break yourself down to build yourself back up and make more gains and things like that. Okay, so the point of recovery and the point of a low day is not only recover from the high, but also prepare you for the next one. I think that's an important kind of mindset to have. And to do something that is active recovery related, a phrase that you've probably heard before, it's also good to keep in mind that stress is stress, right? Active recovery, even though it's relaxed, it's chill, it's called recovery workout, right? It is still putting your body under stress. So going into it, knowing that it's supposed to be a low day, it's supposed to be an active recovery workout, and it's not going to feel like a high day. You're not going to finish your workout, your active recovery, and feel as dead or as tired. Maybe the feelings that sometimes we're chasing to make it feel like we worked really hard. The goal after these active recoveries is to be a little sweaty, feel almost a little bit more alive and awake. Like you stimulated your body, you got the blood pumping, and you're leaving the workout feeling better than when you walked in. Because on the flip side, a workout, you leave the workout slower, smaller, and weaker because you just broke your body back down. Now, this is the flip side. You should feel more energized. You should feel really, really good after an active recovery workout. So stress is stress, and yes, we are putting the body under it, but put it under the right amount and the right type of stress. So just commit to, it's an active recovery workout, not a super hard workout. And in this active recovery, what makes it active is you are doing the work yourself, right? So whether it's going on a light run, whether it's biking, you are actively getting the blood pumping, getting the good stuff into your muscles. So that's the blood, that's the nutrients, that's the protein that you ate the day of, that's the electrolytes and things like that. And then you're also flushing the bad stuff out, some of the metabolic byproducts, some of just the damage and things like that. So the point of the active recovery is to flush, to get the good stuff in, the bad stuff out. And then also don't forget to fuel. Just because you did a good job, hopefully, knock on wood, you did a good job the day of, well, you still have to recover and still set yourself up for a super awesome high day tomorrow. So don't forget to fuel. It's not just a one and done process. Example. So there's 2 things that I really like from this past year, coaching Division I Power 5 athletes: tempos and isometrics, or tempos and isos. So a tempo run, a strider, depending on, there's multiple names for it, but it's kind of like a 70% effort run, which should get your heart rate going, should get your lungs a little bit, but you shouldn't feel that burn, the suck kind of in your lower half, in your legs, like if you're doing like a sucky conditioning, right? So it's to feel bouncy and smooth and light. You're striding. It's very effortless. You're supposed to feel it in your lungs, like your heart's working a little bit, but you're not supposed to feel the suck of like conditioning. On a 1-to-1-ish workout to rest ratio, or work to rest. So a tempo, at least how I've done them, is 110 yards-ish, 100 yards, but 110, in 20-ish seconds. So some of my athletes that were a little bit faster, they would go for 18 seconds. Some of my athletes were a little bit slower, it was like 20 or 22, but basically imagine going from the goal line on a football field through the back of the end zone of the on the other side of the field, right? So a football field is 100 yards, and then each end zone is 10. So you have to try, you have to be engaged, but it's not supposed to be sucky conditioning. You should be able to keep that same pace the whole time. And that's a good telltale for tempos, is if you hit 18 seconds, 18 seconds, 18 seconds, And then as you keep going on these tempos, it's a 19, then a 20, then your last one is a 22. That means that you are creating so much fatigue and so much metabolic byproducts that your muscles couldn't keep it up. So you weren't actively recovering, you made that a workout itself. So super light effort, feel it in the lungs up here, feel sweaty, feel like you're working, but the same pace the whole time. There should never be that burn, right? That suck kind of in your legs. So if it was, what I did with my athletes was it was 20 seconds down, and then we would just go on the 45, right? So it was about 20 seconds on, 25 seconds rest. So that's just one way to do it. You could do that on a bike. You could do a minute kind of medium pace and then a minute easy pace. Just an idea of 70% effort, 1-to-1 work to rest-ish. And then isometrics. So isometrics for the main joints and muscle groups and muscle actions that you do in your workout, your sport, whatever you're trying to recover from. So isometrics are good for tendon health. They're good for blood flow. And this was an interesting flip of the switch in my mind. I was either talking with a buddy or heard it on a podcast where when you are doing isometric and your muscle is just contracted, that's the definition. It's contracted at the same length. It's not moving. It's not contracting and relaxing, contracting and relaxing. And fun fact, that's how we get blood from our legs back up to our heart despite gravity, because as your calves turn off and on and your quads turn off and on, it squeezes the blood kind of back up to your body. So when the muscle isn't pumping the blood in and out itself, well, then it can't get in, can't get out. So it's almost like a fake blood flow restriction. So when you relax after 15 seconds of a lunge hold, let's say for your quad, then you get a huge blood flow in and you get that metabolic response. So from the bad stuff staying in for 15 seconds and then the good stuff rushing in after 15 seconds without all the damage of a workout itself, right? Not all the concentric to eccentric. Think about doing like a bunch of lunges itself versus holding a lunge, right? That the lunge hold is going to be easier on your muscles, not break down your muscles, but you get all the benefits from having that kind of fake blood flow restriction if you're following along. So 2x15, super easy, super simple, 30 seconds total per muscle group, per joint, whatever it is, as an easy kind of rule of thumb for your isometrics. So here's an example. So with my athletes, we would do 2 tempos. So we would run down for 20 seconds. We would pause for 25. So that's 45 seconds total, like I said. And we'd run back, and then we'd take a minute of active recovery stretching. So I have 5 stretches here that we would do for our 5 rounds, and I have a video after this. But basically we do 10 total runs with 5 minutes of stretching, and that would be our run for that day. Now, you could easily do your 10 runs, so down is 1 and back is 2. You could do your 10, 12, 14 runs just going on the 45 every time, and that's totally fine. I think it's an easy way to get some of that stuff in while I have my athletes' captive audience there, or as captive audience. If I can make them do anything, I'll make them stretch, right? Versus if you keep the stretching till the end and then they have to leave early, and then you just basically never get there, right? But run down 110 yards in 18 to 22 seconds, rest for 25 basically, run back, stretch, and that's 1 round. We do that 5 times. And then the isos, everything is 2x15 like I said. We have 3 lower body, 3 upper body, and then 1 for the shoulder to get some blood flow and active recovery to the rotator cuff, the external rotators, because these were baseball players. So we would do an isometric lunge. So knee over toe, heel off the ground, really feel that burn in your quad. 15 seconds, leg, 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 leg. Then we go to a push-up hold. Then we go to a straight leg glute bridge, and then a pike position, which I'll show in the video, to something for the kind of side hip muscles, to biceps and triceps, and then our shoulder care after that. And then being intentional enough to say, hey, if we have time for personal stretch, take advantage. We're here. What else can we do to stress the body, because stress is stress, but also be part of this active recovery to restore back to normal, right? If your body's beat up, if your muscles are sore and tired, they're going to try to protect themselves, right? So you have to loosen up some of that tension that you generated from the day prior. So here are just some video examples. Let's play them. So again, this is only 70% effort, so nothing too hard, not to get that burn in your lower half, just feel a little bit in your lungs and your heart, get a little sweat, but that's it. So a quick-ish jog, but again, maintainable the whole time. And I filmed the whole 20 seconds. If you're on a baseball field, it was always a little bit past the from the left field line, always a little bit past the crook of kind of right center. Then I would always step out 110 steps, so it's 110 yards-ish. And then again, very easy pace on the way back. A quicker jog-ish, but a pace that you could keep holding the whole time. And then here's an example of our world's greatest. So it's hip flexor, it's T-spine, it's hip. This is our seated 90-90. So going from internal rotation to external rotation from the hips. And again, just bounce back and forth. We're not holding anything for a minute. This is just spend a minute, bounce every 5 to 8 seconds, kind of bounce around. And then here's our iso circuit. So I think I have almost every exercise in here. So first is our iso lunge for the quad. Then next we have our push-up. So this is for the chest mostly. We have our straight leg glute bridge for the hamstring. Then next is the pike position for the shoulder protraction, upper rotation. Then I made this up by myself. I thought it was pretty good. The partner bicep tricep isometric. And then last, this is the partner 15-second kind of manual resistance. Again, 70%. I want them to get a little burn back there, but nothing too excessive. Just to get the good stuff in and the bad stuff out. So I'll do the isos again. Let's play both of them again. So again, very chill. It's a little bit quicker than a jog. So those are just some coaching cues, things that you can describe to your athletes that help them execute this how it is supposed to be executed. Don't let athlete, like a good example on these tempos is on the last one, because athletes want to end feeling like it was a really hard workout, right? I would say don't go any faster. If you've been ripping 20s the whole time, you shouldn't pop off a 16 out of nowhere, right? So just don't let the athletes turn this active recovery workout into an actual workout itself. So that was an interesting anecdote that I had with my athletes about just how to coach them through this, okay? And then here's our tempo. So I have a stopwatch, 15 seconds. They got better at these as time went on. But again, we're hitting all of our main kind of muscle groups. Being creative, there's a little bit of a routine so they know what's going on. And it has to do with their throwing specific shoulder muscles, but also just general lower body kind of maintenance. And it went really well. So just some examples to show you visually what I meant on all the slides earlier. So last, let's just wrap it up. So again, we're following a high-low model. How do we use a low day or an easier day or an active recovery day to recover from our high day and then also prep us for a following high day? Workouts are hard. We got to get the body back to normal homeostasis. What do we do that mentally? For our brain, for our heart and our breathing and our heart rate, and then for the body itself with our tempos, being intentional the day of, with sitting and breathing, getting your fuel in, things like that. You only make gains through recovery because without gains, there is no point to life. And how do we just promote getting good stuff into our muscles and our brain, and then also the bad stuff out? So hopefully that helps. Happy recovering.